Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kelly Sparks, aka Good Dude. You like my shirt? Actually, I got this one from the TX Distillery in Fort Worth. I think they're in Fort Worth. Anyway, we're gonna sample a little bit of this knob. We're gonna put this knob in our mouth, and then we're gonna talk about arm wrestling and my poor. Actually, I didn't have a poor performance this weekend. I made some amateur mistakes, which I'm still an amateur, so I'm still learning the process. But I definitely made some rookie mistakes and cost me most of my matches. But I think I would have probably lost those matches anyway, because the people who showed up to this little bitty tournament in Longview, Texas. So I'm gonna break it down for you. Friday night, I get off of work, I leave work, and I go to the venue, which is a former honky tonk. It was a biggest probably honky tonk in the area back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Maybe even the early 2000s. But definitely 80s and 90s. Huge honky tonk. People would come from all over East Texas and probably West Louisiana just to come hang out there, boot scoot, and drink. It's called the Rio Palm Isle. But anyway, the event was at the Rio, and now the Rio is a little bitty bar, and then there's like an event area with a stage where they could potentially have live music and whatnot. We got children playing outside next door, so you hear that. But they had a little stage and then just a large seating area. It was actually a really good setup for arm wrestling because the athletes are elevated above the crowd, so it's easier to see. And then they have a skating rink attached to it. So now it's mainly for kids, and there's an area for the parents to hang out and drink and eat while their kids roller skate. But anyways, I show up Friday night to the early weigh-ins. I didn't have to weigh in because I was over the limit for the heaviest class, which was only 221 pounds. I'm 251. Show up, sign up, and I decided to compete in the amateur class and the masters class. The masters class is the 40 plus, 40-year-olds and up. Really. So, sidetrack. Knob Creek is, in my recent experience, is a hit or miss bourbon. Some of their barrels are really fucking good. Some of them are just meh. But these are at least 9 years old. They will, from time to time, have like a special release or a barrel select release that can be 10, 11 years old. You can find those. Man, that's some of the best juice you can find at a decent price. Because as far as like the close to barrel proof offerings that we have now on the shelf, I think this one is probably one of the cheapest ones. And it maintained its low $50 price tag. Whereas Rare Breed, my beloved Rare Breed, went from here locally $42 plus tax. Now it's $57 plus tax. So thanks, Wild Turkey. Back to drinking Knob Creek. But anyway, back to the arm wrestling. Now this specific single barrel is really good. It's not the best I've had, but it's definitely not the worst I've had. And I've had some pretty bad Knob Creeks before. It just tasted like funky toes. Well, anyway, hey, you stop it. You leave that little girl alone. So anyway, go back to arm wrestling. Friday night, I go sign up, and I enter right hand and left hand masters and amateurs. I'm like, maybe some older guys might show up. We'll see. I might do well. I was feeling real confident, real strong. And I mean, rightly so, I've been training my ass off. And I felt really strong. I felt like I was going to possibly even place. Maybe just left-handed. So, Saturday morning rolls around. They started their super matches around 11:30, 11:45. So I roll up, get there about 11:45 Saturday morning. And as soon as I walk in to the main competition area and started looking around, this is exactly what I did. I'll go, fuck. Fucking the guys that I had to compete against, it's like it was a who's who of people who's whipped my ass at tournaments before. I'm like, God dang it. Well, I ain't gonna fucking luck out this year. And there was several top 5 competitors from Texas. 2 of them were super heavyweights. Luckily, I didn't have to pull those guys. But I had to pull the 3rd place winner in the super heavyweights for the pro class. He was competing in the Masters as well. So he got 3rd. Old Charles, this big dude. He's just big all over. Strong as shit. But Charles, he got 3rd, I think. And then he ended up getting 2nd in the Masters. So there was one of the Masters who also competed in the amateurs. Like the guy who won the Masters competed in the amateurs. I'm like, the fuck are you doing, bro? I was like, you're not competing in the amateurs next year. I called him out walking up to it because I had to pull him first. Buddy! Oh my God. Never. I mean, at least it wears her out. She's not all crazy inside. Buddy! So anyway, needless to say, I was definitely outgunned yesterday. Sunday today. So, luckily though, I got to pick the brain of one of my fellow competitors who's that son of a bitch. He was late to the party. Well, one of the guys who was supposed to pull in my class, I guess ended up leaving, dipping out early. And so this guy shows up, and he's not an amateur. He's not even supposed to be competing with amateurs anymore. Well, he's stepped in for my competitor, and I walk up to the stage and I look at him like, you're not supposed to be competing in the amateurs. God, if I could kill those dogs. Bonnie! Yeah, she sees me picking up a stick, I'm gonna wing it at her. Bonnie! Bonnie! Bonnie, get over here. Get over here now. Anyway, so I look at him, I'm like, you're not supposed to be competing in the amateurs. And he goes, I know. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Well, the lesson that I learned was all of this extra hand and wrist training that I've been doing, I guess I kind of let it go to my head. And I'll show you on this water bottle. When I was setting up on the table, instead of just setting up with a nice, like, calm grip, like, you know, stiff, but calm. Bonnie! Bonnie! Get back! Get over here. Get over here. Be careful. Hey, honey. Hey, honey, be careful. Don't put your hand through the fence, okay? I don't know how she's going to react. She's nice, but... Come on. We almost had a disaster on our hands. The little girl next door was up next to the fence and Bonnie was over there. I don't know how Bonnie's going to react to a little girl sticking her hand through the fence. She didn't do nothing. She was just very curious. But Jesus, that would have ended horribly. Oh, thank God. Well, hopefully it wouldn't have ended horribly, but the other dog was over there barking and then Bonnie was up there curious about it. And then I'm over here just trying to talk to the people, talk to you folks. Stay over here. Stay here. But anyway, so I'm setting up, and instead of having just a strong framed hand, I'm over there just crushing the shit out of everybody. Squeezing the ever-loving shit out of everybody's hand and thumb. And I'm just, and like the training that I've been doing has allowed me to get that grip and not let go, and my hand doesn't fatigue. And I can just sit there and just squeeze the shit out of your hand all day long, and I'm just like, finally it's starting to get pumped after like 20 seconds of like maximal squeezing. But that's probably one of the biggest mistakes. Hey, you stay here. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make as a new arm wrestler, is squeezing your opponent's hand. Because normally a good arm wrestler will notice if your opponent is squeezing the shit out of your hand, all you got to do is hit, cup, and pronate pretty much, or just cup, and your opponent's going to hold on to your hand. Like, I'm just basically holding on to my opponent's hand while they pin me. So, and there's also the fact that if you clench your fists, it's like in fighting, when you're boxing, you're not supposed to clench your fist as hard as you can when you're throwing punches. Your punches will be slower. So you need to have your hands closed, but they don't need to clench until you make contact. So the hands stay closed but loose, and then when you go right before contact is when you close your fist. So clenching my hand, it definitely slowed me down, and it didn't allow me to move like I normally can in arm wrestling. Usually I'm pretty quick and fluid, and this one I was just squeezing the shit out of everybody's hands. So messed up, lesson learned. And then he advised me to work on some stuff for internal rotation. So it was an expensive lesson, but not the most expensive one I've ever had to learn. And it's all for a good cause. But we'll film some training videos this week, post those in with everything else. The new exercises I'll be doing for internal rotation, so I can develop this side pressure is what they call it, being able to hold people in the center or pin them. But yeah, I was so upset. It was just like 2 years ago when I went to the same tournament. I went up there, paid my money, had to go home, take a shit, came back. As soon as I walked in, I saw the Keating family, Tucker and Lindley, or Lindley and Tucker Keating, father-son duo here in Texas, who are two of the freaking stoutest arm wrestlers in the state. And I just walked in, I'm like, fuck. But anyway, lesson learned. That's what we do it. I mean, it's all part of the process. I mean, what else am I going to do? I'm not going to quit. Anyway, it's too fun when you beat people. I mean, that's the whole, like, I'll take 100 losses. As soon as you give me one loss over you, it's over. But that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. Starting to sweat. I think I'll probably do a little workout. Still pretty sore from after pull, after the tournament. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like always, drink some whiskey, share with your friends and family, be safe, don't drink and drive, take care, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.